So if you've ever seen any of our podcast clips, you'll know that we ramble about stuff. We're going to try and do this a little bit more formulaic than our normal ramblings. But
Don't look at me.
Don't look at you, yeah. If you want rambling, you can follow Connor online for all of his ramblings. So we're going to go through individually talking a little bit about our experience getting started self-employed, how we've got to the points in our career, some sort of like, things that went right, things that went wrong, some learning moments, that kind of thing. We really want to engage with you guys. Well, I've had a chat to a few of you guys. I've not had a chance to chat to everyone yet, but I want to, by the end of this, have spoken to everyone at least at some point. So this is highly interactive. The whole point of this is that it's a discussion with everyone. We're kind of just using some of our experiences, kind of jumping off points for things that might be relevant to your experience that we can talk about, and like collectively, we might solve some problems, might give some tips, you never know. So who wants to go first on there?
Don't mind. Connor, do you want to go first? Or
I don't mind.
Yeah,
Go first if you want.
okay, I can go first, yes, so I can get started. So the topic I wanted to cover was, like many people here, we all sort of either run our own businesses, or we're self-employed, or we want to go freelance. So for me, I found that running my own business has taught me more life skills and career skills than high school or education ever did, really. So when you run your own business, I always say to people, if you're starting out, it is one of the hardest things you'll ever do, no matter what sort of business you go into. If you're going self-employed, it's hard work, and there's lots of ups, lots of downs, and a lot of people, when they start out, they say, it's just you start and then you've got your end goal. It's not quite like that. It's all up and down. Like, take 2 steps back, take 1 step forward. It's hard, and then obviously with running a business, you're learning about taxes, paying bills, managing your finances, all the other things as well, and then it's a load of other things, and you go through different sort of obstacles. And one of the things I always say is like building resilience, like having a real tough skin, because you will have good weeks and then you'll have really bad weeks. I'm sure we can speak from experiences as musicians. It's not the easiest. It's not been the easiest.
And if you saw any of the videos of yourself performing when you were starting out from your position now, I think all collectively we'd cringe a little bit. But you have to go through the sort of like figuring it out stage to get to a point where you've got a bit more confidence behind what you're doing.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was. It's hard. It's definitely like some of the like. But again, why I set up the Creative Meetup is I want to help give people a bit more of a sort of, not a head, like a head start of fighting. Not that you don't, like some people, they kind of know what they want to do and stuff, but they don't know how to get there. I don't know how to do that. I know what I want, but I don't know how, and like I'm worried, like going into the big wide world, I can't do it. So when I'm speaking to music students, and a little fact about me is, even though I do music as a career, I failed music A level. I got a U, and I got the lowest performance mark. Well, one of the lowest performance marks in my university. What did you major in, Harry? Because me and Harry went to university as well. So we.
Mine was creative. So.
Oh, you did your. Okay.
But I was basically just writing music the whole time through my final year. So by the time that my dissertation came around, I'd already written and recorded all the music, so I didn't have to do anything. So that's not necessarily the best advice from me, but.
Yeah, I think it's just, and so I always say to people, like, because when I'm working with university students and they think, if I don't get this mark, because when I was fine, when I majored, because my major was performance, so I had to do end of year performance, and I wanted to get a first or 2-1 at least minimum, and then when I got that, it's like, oh God, it's over. But then it's like, well, no, it's like, it's just, you're letting don't let someone's opinion of you become your reality. It's just like, because, I mean, I know music is very opinionated, it's very subjective, and I feel that was the problem with my university courses, that sometimes you didn't always agree with the mark you got, and it's like, well, don't worry. Like, I, again, failed music, but I failed music.
The whole idea of grading music is a funny thing anyways, isn't it? I mean, I did music AS level, got a C maybe, and dropped it, didn't do it at A level, and then ended up doing it at uni anyways I didn't get into what I originally applied for thing. it's a very good sliding doors moment for me because I did apply to do medicine and I didn't do that, and I'm now having probably a much more enjoyable career of what I'm doing now. Maybe different.
Meant to be.
Meant to be.
Meant to be.
Meant to be. But that's the thing, like I never understood the whole grading of music thing. So even with creative writing projects or whatever it was, performance stuff, it might not be what they were looking for, but it might still be. And it's like that thing, I did music at school, and I had one of my teachers tell my parents at a school, like at a teacher's parents' evening thing, talking about how I'm doing at school, and they were like, you need to stop humouring him with the music. Because I went to a school where people, where people were going and doing medicine or law degrees and stuff. So I got told to not, to kind of stop humouring the music thing.
No, I think, we had, me and my mum had very many conversations with my head of sixth form and stuff, and like saying, oh, you need to do an apprenticeship, Joe. You need to be more practical. And it's like, well, if I'd taken that advice, well, I wouldn't be here now. I wouldn't have met Harry at uni. I wouldn't have met my fiance. I wouldn't be here. Like, it's just like, again, music was all I was good at, and I didn't like people telling me what to do. So like, it was just like, well, no, this is all I wanted to do. So I always, again, it's just like, again,
Did you do other jobs other than music in the sort of interim?
So I worked in kitchens, and then I worked for a TP company.
For a TP company?
So we set up TPs. It was
TP's not. I thought you were talking about toilet paper.
No. Sorry, TP's.
I was the two-ply
marquees.
guy. That's what I was doing.
Sorry, I had a summer job where we put up marquees, TPs,
cool.
stuff. Yeah.
So that's kind of events-based anyway.
Kind of, yeah. But the guy who ran it, he had no people skills whatsoever, and the job itself, it was hard work, but that didn't bother me. It was just, again, it was just like, I knew I wanted to do my own thing, run my own business, do music as a career. I'm going to have my own freedom. And again, with running your own business, there are positives, like you can do things when you want on your own time again. But again, it's like when you do go into something that's a bit different, that people isn't the norm, like people will say to you like, oh, well, again, you do miss a lot of social events, a lot of sacrifice sometimes you have to make. And then again, it's kind of, at the start, quite necessary, but it's just one of those things where it's very up and down again, and then just kind of...
But to be fair, at least at the start, when most of us were doing our first gigs, it wasn't missing social events because you'd be playing at your auntie's 60th birthday party or something as your first gig or something. But that's something that I feel so much now at the minute because my job is so weekend-based, and a lot of my friends from school are still... on the Monday, Friday grind or whatever, so is my fiance. So my time is like so all over the place.
We're on opposite schedules to them
all the time.
Yeah, it's I'm quite fortunate. My fiance, she's personal trainer, like works in a gym, so she's self-employed as well. And that was what's good was because she understood my work schedule. Like I do work away, and it is hard. Again, it is hard, and like sometimes she does miss me, and like I think
sometimes she does miss me.
Sometimes. Sometimes, yeah. I think most of the time.
Oh, I'm going away for 3 days. She's like, get it.
But yeah. So it's balancing that kind of, because they say, I don't know if anyone ever watched the bloke who owns Brewdog who's saying work-life balance is a lie or something. And well, he said he was criticising work-life balance because it's like, well, if you're trying to look for work-life balance, you don't truly love your job, and it's just, I'm like, no, I do love my job, but again, I want to have a life. I want to see my friends.
Didn't he get done for employment law recently?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So don't listen to him.
Yeah, exactly. So it's again like I do really. Sorry. Yeah, so I do again.
Can we clip that bit out?
Yeah, that's. But lost my train of thought now. But yeah, no, again running your own business, it is. These are the things you've kind of got to be prepared for. Like again, it is a big risk, but sometimes the reward is even greater. Sometimes I feel bigger the risk, the greater reward, really. But it is, like this week. Obviously, I've been thinking about this, but also I've been having to deal with. So when people book me, so weddings are my main thing. So when people book me, I send them like an invoice and then my T's and C's. And then, so again, one booking I had where sent an invoice, all good, we really want to book you. radio silence, ghost me, hear nothing. I'm like, well, do you want to book me? Do you not want to book me? And I'm getting other inquiries for the same date who want to book, and I'm like, well, do you want to? So, and it's just, I've had to get to a point now where I'm just like, no, like if you have not like got back to me, then it's like, well, sorry, it's just, again, I'm sure.
But it's similar, yeah. You get to a point where you've kind of gone through every iteration of how your job works. So if you've like got a client that has booked you for something and you've had that long-term relationship, things go easy. But if it's new clients, then not everything works every time, and you learn kind of over a bit of time what your own T's and C's are. That does become kind of like an industry standard about some things, particularly with whatever industry that you're in. But you kind of get there through your own iterations and stuff anyways.
100%.
How you deal with clients.
Yeah, you deal with, but again, like I'm at a point now where I'd say like all my clients are great, like, but you do hear some stories where, well, Bridezilla or something, but luckily I've never had one of those. It's like, it's again, but again.
You've never had a Bridezilla?
Only
have you
for
had
agency
You
work.
must have had it.
Yeah.
Go on.
All the time.
All the time?
All the time. It's always people that you send me, funnily enough.
No. I knew I didn't want to do that gig, so I just gave it to Connor.
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm sure it is. Oh, hi. Sorry, Harry sent me to you. We just want you to play 7:45s.
Yeah. And it's all this really obscure music or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, if for people who aren't musical, what 7:45 is? It's 7 45-minute
Sorry,
sets.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, sorry.
7:40, which is a long time. I mean, I couldn't
It's
do
too long.
7:45s. I'd have.
Joe does
literally-
2:30s and then gets off, doesn't he?
No, not 3:30s.
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 That's what I do. But yeah, so again, it's dealing with people as well. It's like learning to like negotiate. Again, we deal with a lot of people try and haggle you down because God loves a trier. And yeah, it's trying to like. I'm at a point now where I'm like, no, that is my price. Like,
Same, yeah.
like, yeah, you just kind of, because when you're starting out, and that's the one thing I always say to people starting out in our industry or any industry, like if you've got a price, stick to that price. Like, please, you will thank yourself in the long run, because there have been times when I've let people kind of haggle me down, and then I'm like looking back and I'm just like, oh God, I wish I'd just like, again, just kind of
Stuck with it.
Yeah, but now I'm like, I've kind of made a bit of a reputation where I'm like, no, I will not budge. That is my price. Take it or leave it. If you found someone cheaper, happy days. But yeah.
Sometimes it does the opposite, where I've had a few where they've said that to me. They've come at me. I've told them the price. They've said no. We think it's too much. And then if you hold for just a bit, give them a couple of days, sometimes they come back and they say, okay, yeah.
Yeah, well, I've got a story where I had a girl get in contact with me where she was like, oh, hi, Joe, I'm getting married. I want this, and this, and that. How much? And I said, oh, it's my price. And they're like, oh, don't worry, we've found someone cheaper. I was like, okay, all the best. Have a great wedding. And then I get a call a month later.
I know it's coming.
Yeah, so I get a call a month later and saying, oh, hi, Joe, the guy we originally had booked has decided to cancel on us. Are you still free? And I'm like, yeah, I'm still free. Yeah. Still the same price. They go, oh, is there any movement on the price at all? And I'm like, no, that's my price. Like, that, I'm sorry, I'm not. But she goes, don't worry, my husband's found, or my fiance's found someone else. Okay. Week before their wedding, I get a call.
So you got inquired 3 times?
3 times. A week before their wedding,
Had to put the
literally
price
on the. Oh, she's rung me. So I thought, oh bloody hell, this is serious. Like, she's rung me. So I thought.
The 2 guys that we tried to book for 50 quid each have both cancelled.
Yeah,
on
they're both
us.
literally. Yeah, they're both. So they've literally both cancelled. Are you free? We'll pay your fee. Sorry, no, I've already been booked for something else now. Really sorry. I'm just like, I sent her some recommendations, but
were you free? Could you have done it?
no, I wasn't free.
Oh, right.
I was.
I thought out of principle you would just be like,
Out of spite. No,
I got an all-day wedding which paid a lot more than that, and it was just down the road. So to be honest, it was. But again, it was like I sent her some recommendations. Said, look, these guys might be free, but I can't make any promises. So again, it's just like, look. Again, I feel even when because I'm outsourcing now, so I have a videographer. I would rather if something's too expensive, I'm just like, no, I'm just like, I can't afford that. It's just not in my budget. I won't ever try and haggle, because I hate when. So again, it's just that respect, and then it's just like, okay, it's not quite my budget. I can't meet that. Maybe in a year's time, I might be able to. So
100%.
again, it's just I'm a big believer of quality, and people will say like, oh, but we found much competitive prices. I'm like, well, I don't compete on price. I compete on value. Like, what you're getting is value for money. Like, with weddings, a lot of people, oh, you're really early to weddings, aren't you? I'm like, well, that's what I do. I get there 2 hours before than I need to be, because it's just like, especially if it's a venue I don't know as well, because like sometimes they're either running late or they could be running on time, because some venues will try and push people like, oh, well, we want to get finished now. And so I'd rather just be at a certain time where I know it's not too late, but it's a bit early. But again, it's just, I know what's going on.
It's like if you ever had to break down why your price makes sense, some amount of it is the performance, some amount of it
I've had to literally do that. I've had
someone recently basically trying to ask me to justify why I'm more expensive than someone else they were trying to book. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's like, you talk about the level of performance, but you also talk about the level of punctuality, professionalism, all that kind of stuff.
The cheap people are always 20 minutes late. I'm always 10.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So again, this is just part of my business is that I'm like, obviously, like I don't mean, no pun intended, I don't like to blow my own horn, but like
Joe plays sax, by the way, if you don't know.
So, but again, it's like obviously just good at my job, but also the other bits that I'm on time. I'm always like, one thing people. This is probably because I do spend too much time on my phone, and my fiance can definitely second that. I do.
All business owners spend too much time on the phone.
But again, they always say to me, oh, thank you for the quick reply. And again, because I am known for getting quite back to people. I listened to a quote where they said, usually the busiest people are the quickest to reply sometimes. Like, again, and that is quite true. People,
Not to their loved ones. That's a different kettle of fish, I think.
So, but yeah, I think, but no, that's just essentially sort of the business structure. But I'd say I'll round it up now anyway. But I would say, going into a business, it's hard, but it is probably one of the best things you'll ever do. And I'm sure there's business owners here who would probably agree with me. It's hard, but the reward is great, and I wouldn't change it for anything. So, but yeah. Does anyone have any questions about business? And Lucian, our DJ's got a microphone if anyone would like to ask a question. Do we have any questions or anything? Want to pick our brains or anything at all? No questions? Okay. No,
go on, hurry, ask a question.
Have you? Yes. So do any of our other...
Well, mine was going to be a little bit more of a sort of general question. More of a point, like, because our industry particularly, I guess it's similar with a lot of other adjacent industries. People start from a position where it's not their full-time thing. They try and get enough work where it does become their full-time thing. Yep. And then that's the thing where there's a bit of a grind between people saying, oh, we found someone for a cheaper price or whatever, because they might be more of an amateur person in the business or whatever. And actually, that's all where we were as well at that point.
Again, we were there,
There's people who don't necessarily need to rely on the income of doing this, who are willing to go out and play for a couple of beers and, 20 quid.
I do have conversation with people like that. I said, no, charge more, because people like us who do it full time are struggling. I've had to have some quite honest conversation with people, even like, because I'm covering for a friend of mine in January, and he told me how much he was charging. I said, well, obviously I said to him, I'll cover for you, but you need to be charging more. Like, I thought, geez, I'm charging a lot more. And I was like,
100%.
So,
my opinion, do you want my opinion?
I would love your opinion.
I am under strict orders to not talk too much, because I talk way too much.
He's been the most quiet so far, but that's not normally how it is.
Exactly. And everyone else has got notes, and I've got no notes.
It's all in the dome, isn't it?
It's going off the top. It's freestyle. My sort of my opinion on that is it's personal branding. So I feel like there are people out there that charge a lot less money, and there's people out there who I personally know that charge £30,000 to DJ a wedding. And, the only difference is literally personal branding.
Yeah, that is the one thing I would say to a lot of people who are starting out now. Really, personal brand is so key
100%.
now. Like, if you can build an identity, all businesses are doing it now. Like, they're really... I was looking at this Italian restaurant's Instagram, and, like, they're doing these like funny TikTok videos. 10 years ago, you just would not get restaurants doing that now. But again, they're building that brand where like, oh, we want to have a bit of a joke, we want to have a bit of a laugh and stuff. And like, I feel any business now, personal brand, I would say make sure if you're starting out, see if you can find that personal brand. Be like, again, sort of be yourself, but find that kind of niche within you that kind of sets you out. Because again, so like with lovely Laura, the saxophone player, I've heard she goes out for weddings at 30 grand a pop. I can't charge that because I don't have that personal brand she has. Again, like
you could be lovely Joe.
I could be lovely Joe. I could be lovely Joe, but I mean, but 100%. But again, because she's built that brand where she went viral coming out of a big thing, and now that's what people remember for. And I've had people come up to saying she's probably same level you're at, but again, she's just built that brand. So personal branding, I feel, for business is so key now. That's just the big thing.
In my opinion, well, I've heard a lot, and I've said this before on the podcast, but people, in my opinion, people don't buy products, they buy people.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely,
and that's, I've always found that to be true. And a lot of the times I've showed up to play at weddings and bookings and things, and people have come up to me and they've said, oh, like, we seen you, you know, you were over here a week ago, you were here a couple of weeks ago, and it's crazy because people know your entire sort of story, your schedule, which is a really weird thing to adjust to when people sort of know who you are. You know, you obviously, everyone gets that where if they've booked you, you walk into a venue, everyone knows your name, they know who you are, but it goes to show that they booked you because of that personal branding. You know, there could be any singer, any musician that they book, any photographer, videographer, but they chose to book you for a specific reason, you know, and that's where I think it makes all the difference. You
Absolutely.
know?
Do you think it's easier in some industries or some creative endeavors rather than others? Because if you're trying to do personal branding and it's you on your own, it's much easier to give kind of your personality over rather than if you're doing some kind of service thing. Or
100%.
Well, it's interesting because I don't know if everyone ever seen Curry's adverts, because they did a few funny sort of like videos, and I think that's kind of a good way, because I feel that got like good view, more than millions, I think, I think quite a few. But again, they just kind of, just a normal sort of big store, but again, they just got a bit creative with their social media just to be like, oh, we can.
Well, it's when they stick in actual individual people on the front of the videos, isn't it? It's when it's 100%. All personal stuff.
Well, that's what I was going to say. If you look at restaurants, like you were saying before, about the bars, restaurants that are doing the social content and going really big, 99% blanket, most of those reels, TikToks that are doing well, it's people. It's someone in the video.
Yeah, it's the
not,
chef and two of the girls from behind the bar
or Guinness or something. It's, you know, it's people that people make the sales.
Yeah, absolutely. Know? Yeah, people buy people. So it's... yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, that's that topic. Does anyone got any questions, or we?
We would love this to be as interactive as possible. If anyone's got anything of their own experience.
If people don't ask us questions, we're going to start asking questions.
Yeah, we'll ask you guys questions.
That's right. But we got.
I'll ask you a question. So, in terms of, I think the best thing about being self-employed is obviously being your own boss, but I think the worst part about being self-employed is also being your own boss. And some days you just like get decision paralysis, you don't want to do things get tough, obviously business is hard. And I'm just wondering what your best methods for like productivity are, because I think mine literally is just making lists. Like I make lists and then I feel better, but I'm always intrigued to know what other people do and if I can start incorporating other little strategies.
Yeah.
For me, one of the best things, I think it's been the same for both of us, has been sort of working on the, I don't know how to put it in the best way, the sort of channel from someone being interested in booking you for whatever your service is.
The funnel.
Yeah,
it's called
the funnel. The funnel.
Business terminology for you.
So for us, we all use a booking form and stuff, and that for me has kind of streamlined what I need to do. If it previously was people booking me through texting me, going on my Instagram, going on an email, going on, for me it's like such a scattered thing that I'm trying to deal with that it makes it harder to pick up and do in one session of trying to deal with all my admin.
It also turns a really long conversation into one, because on the booking forms that we use the same software, it pre-asks all the questions you need to know. So when we get the actual email through from the form, it's got all the pre-filled answers of everything we need to know. All we literally need to do is just reply, we can do it, or we can't.
And stuff.
Because you'll get people just saying, hi, how much? How much for what?
What does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, so it's just, again, and like, again, with my website as well, it's just making life a bit easier for everyone so you don't have to keep going back and forth as well. But,
100%.
But yeah, and it's just having everyone's kind of details. So you've got everything, so you know Julie's number. So if you want to find out, where is this venue? If you can't get on email, you've got like a list. So when I was starting out, I had a spreadsheet of, so when I did the bars and clubs, I used to have a spreadsheet of different bars and clubs in like kind of each sort of category. So like,
Did you have a rating for each one of them?
what's that? Sorry,
Did you have a rating for each one of them?
not a rating, but I had like an A, B, and C.
Harry does.
So a rating.
Harry
Well,
does.
no, it was
Harry's
more
got a blacklist.
a blacklist. Oh yeah, I do have that for weddings. I have a blacklist for weddings.
I'm on it.
Yeah, not playing any of your gaffes.
But again, it's just sort of, I think for productivity, it was just kind of like having a name of everyone, but I'd also have like, so who was the person who made all the decisions? So who was the person who made the decision for me to play there? So I'd have their name, have their email, even have their mobile number. So I've got all the details, and then I would kind of make a note of what was had in our last conversation. So I'm just trying to use an example. So one where I ring up Dan from Revolution Bars and say, oh, we're not looking for a saxophonist because we've got our Oktoberfest, so we only want trumpets and trombones. And then I'll ring them back in 6 months later. Oh, hi, going from my notes, you had your Oktoberfest. Are you looking for a more chilled out kind of? So again, it's just, again, have that spreadsheet with all the information again. But I know there are, with AI now, it makes things a bit easier now because AI can kind of like, you can get
Do some of that work for you, yeah.
do most of the work. So it does save a bit of time as well. But
What do you use AI for, out of curiosity?
ChatGPT I use just to kind of, so if I'm trying to write an email back,
Replies to all the messages for him, yeah.
To reply to his friends and family while he's working.
yes,
I know I haven't seen you in weeks, mother, but...
yeah, so just reply. But no, so I used ChatGPT just to kind of help me, because one thing I used to struggle when I used to write things down was like just how to structure things. So I think AI has kind of helped me just kind of structure things and just make a little bit more sense, because I do have a tendency, I'm better now, but I do have a tendency just to ramble. So again, it's just kind of just helping save a bit of time, but also just make sure I make sense. But it's still me talking as well, not just because, like, again, with like, when we talked about this on Tuesday, like you can tell with certain Instagram captions and posts that, oh, that is definitely ChatGPT. So again, it's just to kind of help really. But again, with sometimes productivity, just kind of, making a note of everything and then having certain sort of file systems. Again.
Yeah, for me, having systems has made quite a big difference, but actually getting my brain to the point where I'm going to engage with things as well is also tricky, because if I've had a long weekend gigging, it gets to Monday, Tuesday, that's my kind of weekend, and then I'm starting thinking about gigging again at the weekend, but I've got loads of messages to reply to. Yeah. And I've got like a nice office room at home and stuff, and I try and sit down and do it there, but I just, because I'm at home, I haven't got the attention span.
I've been working out of a coffee house
That's
this
what I mean.
last week.
So actually my best productivity tip is try and do your admin just somewhere else.
Yeah,
like if you normally do it sat at home or whatever, that for me has actually been a massive stumbling block recently to actually engage with any of it. So if I go and treat 100%. It like I'm going to an office for a couple of hours, I fly through things.
Yeah, I'm too distracted. Like I've even looked at like getting like one of those hot desk sort of things, because I'm okay at home, but sometimes I just get way too distracted. But if I'm in somewhere else, just a different environment, I get 10 times more things done than would at home. So yeah, that would be mine as well. So yeah,
100%.
So the next, anyone else got another question?
Thank you for that question, Katie. Thank you.
Hi, you touched on a bit point a bit earlier on about the difference between amateur and professionals, and especially when juggling work-life balance 9 to 5, and also making sure that you're still getting an income. So what would you say would be the next steps or the things that you'd recommend to do that successfully?
So yeah, the transition from going to working your standard job that you need to pay your rent and everything, and how to build things alongside that.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, so I think for me, I just went in full time. I went kind of hell for leather and just went for it really, because But again, I feel if you're not too sure about going full time, I'd say work a job where it kind of helps you fund it, because you've got that kind of security.
The safety net stuff.
Yeah, but then it kind of, with that, so use it just to kind of help you more financially, and then use that time when you're not at work, you can to just kind of see. I'd say make a plan, sort of like maybe like a weekly plan, 6-month plan, see where you go, and just kind of say, okay, well, I'm going to work this job. I want to be in it no longer than a year, but again, I want to transition into this career I want to go into full time. I'm going to give myself. So I'd say plan everything out. Plan where you want to be in certain points, and then use that time when you're not at work to kind of just really get yourself out there. Try and talk to the right people. Again, networking. And then just use that job to help finance something. So if you need anything outsourcing, use the money from that job to help you fund your passion.
I think one of the really hard... I did a little bit of transitional stuff where I was working...
Did you work in Santander, Pat?
I did work in Santander.
I thought that was it. Yeah, I thought so.
I worked at EY for a year.
What, in Spain?
Uni. Not in the city of Santander, for the company of Santander. And alongside the gig and stuff... I think the really tricky thing is you want to chase whatever the next thing to move out of what you're currently doing is, but a normal job is, for some people, like the whole of their effort out in their life. That's like, where do you find more effort? Where do you find more get up and go after you've done your full job?
Energy as well, it just drains your energy, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I think luckily for what we were doing, the opportunities to explore the next bit of our work was all around the weekends. Being live musicians, it's Friday, Saturday nights. We were often free to chase something then anyways. But I think you do have to kind of borrow a bit of your energy from the future now to chase extra things. So 100%. How I kind of got enough work for me to be able to move away from doing the Monday, Friday that I was doing was every other night in the week. So I'd try and find out a venue that had an open mic and go down and show my face there and try and make a contact there, that kind of thing. I think you kind of have to just accept a little bit that there's going to be less...
it's not easy. It's
less free time, but if you want to get out of what you're currently doing, you have to 100%. Invest where, even if you haven't got the energy to really go and chase things, just turning up for things or making contacts or speaking to people. Yeah. And actually, one of the things that when we're starting out, I don't know if it's the same for you guys, I was basically copying the people that I knew were doing it already. So some of the things that I'd seen people playing in venues, I knew a musician who was already playing there. I'd go, well, hi guys, I know that musician, I also do this thing. Yeah. It might be different for every industry, but there's going to be people who have walked a bit of the path before you, so you can kind of just take the lead from some of those things. Yeah. And at least when you're trying to put effort in, when you don't necessarily have the energy to put spare effort in, you feel like you're at least following a path of something else that kind of got to a certain point. Have you got another question? I hope that was okay.
At the very beginning, how did you find like getting customers and clients? Like, I know as you get bigger, like it's word of mouth, but in the very, very beginning, like.
So how I went and got customers, I basically, again, just went out and networked. So when
you
I
also do it for free at the start, quite a lot.
So it's a lot of again, going back to again, if you can try not to do. It depends how you work it. Sometimes you would have to do stuff for free, and then but. Again, I really do try and discourage that. But again, for me, how I did it, I just got a business card made and went around every venue I could think of and just kept pestering people, kind of getting to know people, putting myself out there. And then eventually I was sort of getting to know the right people. I managed to get something that stuck. Yep. And then from that, I built that groundwork. And then I was able to build from that because I'd meet people through that again. But I would say when you're starting out, trying to get customers, I would just say network as much as you can and just get yourself out there, talk to people, start conversations. If there's someone, even if there's someone who's doing the same thing that you're doing but is a bit more of a higher level, has been doing it a bit longer, message them, because that's what I did. I messaged people and they were very honest and gave me some good advice as well.
They might give you work as well.
A lot of them might.
A lot of people at the next level up might be too busy to do all the work that they're getting asked to do, so they might find the next person who can help them do the work.
That's what I do as well. If I do get someone message me who's quite young, I'll say, well, actually, I've got this gig that's come up, I can't do it, could you do it? And the chances are they'll be free. So again, I think just, speak to people, message people, talk to people, just build those relationships as well, and just
100%.
kind of get yourself out there really. And
The
then
thing Harry said as well before about friends and family and working for friends and family, because
It's the first bit of your portfolio,
100%,
isn't it?
and you, especially with music, you need to build that sort of experience of working crowds and things. You've got to work your way up, haven't you? Like, even with, obviously playing the sax and things, you've got to learn how to play to the crowd, things like that. And most of the time you have to learn that through the lesser paid things, and even, like you say, the charity events, the free stuff,
It's where everyone starts.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I know. So, I mean, I think there is ways of, like, again, offering your services free, but again, it's kind of learning that.
I know you're hesitant to that, aren't you?
Yeah. So
I think when you're at a really starting out level, I think it's even when you're trying to figure out what you're doing, you kind of take on things that you might not necessarily think that you have the chops for.
100%.
And you give it a go and you find out you can do it, and then you go the next time and charge them for it.
But I would say
100%.
if you are starting out and they do offer you something that's an opportunity but it's free, maybe say, look, I can do this for free, but again, next time, if you can get it in writing, just say, look, I want to charge this time
100%.
if you like what I do and stuff. So that's how I would do it, but I really do discourage people from offering stuff for free. But again, it's hard. It's hard. You're trying to sort of see what you can do. But my advice for just trying to get customers and clients, just network again, and just keep putting yourself out there, and just keep coming to events like these. Again, we're going to try and keep putting them on as well, so give people a chance, give them the opportunities to meet people, because you just never know. A lot of the opportunities and a lot of the things I've done, I got through networking events. So
100%.
just putting yourself out there. And,
Would you charge if your mum asked you to play her 50th? Would you charge
my
her
mum,
for
well,
it?
she's not. I mean, she's not fit. She's in her 60s now. She'll be
Okay,
at
so all right,
17
okay.
next. But I think she'll be quite. She'll be
Would
quite.
you charge your mum?
Well, maybe, I don't know. No,
The hard-nosed
I've been told
businessman.
no. So I've been told no. So no. But yeah, I hope that answers your question.
I like that.
So I mean, the next bit I was going to talk about was a little bit of like just something that through my experience was a very big learning experience. Maybe biting off more than I could chew and learning quite a lot along the way with it. And through that, there's been so many kind of things that have shown me, some of the things we talk about, your networking, your professionalism, all those kind of things. So my name's Harry. I'm a singer. I play for... Thank you.
Sorry.
Cheers.
Be a hype man.
I play for weddings and private parties. I started out doing pubs and bars and open mics and playing for free back in the day. I know that's frowned upon on this stage a little bit, but so I then got into, through contact that I had, I'd played at an event that was run at a venue on the Wirral called Claremont Farm. And they'd been hosting a few live music events, but I think they hadn't really started to build their sort of repertoire of things. So I played, the guys who run the venue had seen me play, I got a good reaction from the crowd, and they approached me to put on my own thing. And I've been running a few open mics around Liverpool and stuff, and open mics are a hard game because, I might have been getting paid not a lot and then paying the musicians even less. So I had a little bit of experience of sort of hosting events, hosting nights and stuff.
100%.
And I took that as a kind of open door opportunity to give it a go and make it my own event and see what I could build it into. We've built that over the last few years, and those events have been going really well. We've built a really good community at that place. I was very lucky that the venue I was doing it at also had their own sort of big group of people who they could contact. They had massive mailing lists and a good social media presence and stuff. So I kind of landed on my feet with the opportunity, but I took it and I ran with it, and we now do sort of 6-7 events every year, sell out every time, and they're amazing. They're so much fun. I kind of almost pinch myself when I'm doing those events. Amazing. They are really good fun. Yeah. And it's funny sometimes I'm standing at those events kind of just while it's happening and going, it's so mad the journey that we've been on to get to there. So my next thing after that was I'd said to the guys at this farm that I'd always dreamt about, like running my own festival, which was my first mistake. because they went, oh, sounds great. Yeah, we used to do a farm feast festival thing that had thousands of people coming to it years ago, and we had to stop it for whatever reason, and we've been looking for something else.
That should have been the first red flag.
Yeah,
we had to stop it.
We had to stop it. So I kind of took it as it was the natural evolution from what I'd already been doing. So I've been doing these events there. They were maybe 200, 300 people or something. I saw an opportunity to do something bigger. I went, okay, I'm in a period of my career where I'm trying to grow into the next things. I've got to say yes to opportunities. These guys have been great. It seemed like a good opportunity to try the next thing. But I also I think I was a little bit too full of myself at that point, thinking that this had gone really well. Of course, the next thing's going to go really well. I can do whatever I want. It's going to be fine. And I got humbled quite badly. It still ended up being quite well attended and well run and all that kind of stuff. But behind the scenes from me running that event, I was absolutely pulling my hair out. So we were basically trying to do a larger event of what we were doing. So our original event was 4 musicians through the night, sort of 7 till 11 p.m. at the farm shop, dead easy, dead chilled. And this festival...
It's not dead chilled.
No,
it's not
dead easy to run.
Right, hang on, because you're being a bit modest here, right? These events that Harry runs in Claremont Farm, they're basically progressively throughout the night. It starts off with a nice chilled acoustic act. And then it builds up towards the end of the night, more and more lively, until Harry gets on. And Harry's normally closes out the night with his usual set. And this set is really high, upbeat, 90s rave songs on an acoustic guitar. And by the end of the night, the entire farm, which is like, what was the last one? How many?
300 people.
300 people are up on the tables, bouncing up and down.
It's really good
to
fun,
these
right?
rave
So
songs.
I've seen that's worked really well. And I go,
100%.
okay, let's see where the top of the sort of ceiling is for this.
You're moving
Yeah.
it, you're moving
So I
it.
want to try and keep growing it, but there's like a beauty in the sweet spot of a sized event of that sort of scope.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it is.
So we were trying to do a 2-day larger version of this event over August Bank Holiday weekend a couple of years ago. And it was going to be a similar kind of thing in the daytime. So we're going to do covers music in the daytime. And I wanted, because I was in a band at that point, to support some of the other local original bands from Liverpool. There was a lot of musicians around that I really liked that I wanted to get on. And I thought that was a good opportunity to do it as well. People who are into the covers music might be into the original music. It could be a good local event, that kind of thing. But I was trying to run the whole thing myself. So I was trying to run a 2-day festival that was we got about 1,000 people through the door over the 2 days, but it was just absolutely chaos.
I've heard running festivals can be really good or either very,
Chaotic, falling
Yeah.
apart. It was a difficult thing, because one of the things, when I was thinking about how to frame this to be able to talk about it in a way that kind of made sense from a Creative Meetup perspective, it was to think of the kind of pillars within everything that we've talked about that I've had experience here. So my network was good at that point with Claremont and with other musicians, but my network from a sort of all of the other things that are wrapped around running that kind of event were basically non-existent. I had to lean on other people, tap other people's networks, that kind of thing. So stuff like getting the security, getting the food in, getting the toilets in, getting the stage and lighting in, getting the tents in, all that kind of stuff was basically a whole new thing that I was trying to do. And I had contacts through the people that I was speaking to, but I mean, they were invested in the people they knew, they weren't invested in me. So I had people who had agreed to come and do a big, grilled meat smokehouse thing that ghosted me the week of the event. So that was like my main. I had a few food vendors and stuff, but they were like the main
food
thing for it, and they just ghosted me the week of it. So when I'm like trying to think in the week of all the other things that I need to sort, and then one of the main food vendors bails on me. God love my sister. My sister was 3rd trimester pregnant with twins, and she went to Costco the morning of the event and spent about 400 quid just getting loads of shit to make a tuck shop instead of this big. So
Can't beat Costco.
So she was an incredible person, and I owe her
Unreal.
for the rest of my life. I owe her for doing that. So networking kind of things, I'd lent on people, so there was like one level of disconnect between me and them, and that meant that it was not a strong connection and stuff. So I think it's related to some of the stuff we talk about when we're talking about like recommending people and stuff. As soon as it gets sort of secondary recommendations or tertiary recommendations,
100%.
it goes
You don't know who you...
so unreliable.
100%.
Yeah.
Which is
so,
why, back to what Joe was saying as well, is like the network is so important to have, because you don't.
Well, it's what we've built up recently, isn't it?
Because
Like,
you don't want to be relying on sort of second, third-hand recommendations. If you don't personally know them, you don't know whether they're gonna show up. In that case.
Yeah, and we booked a gin bar that was going to come down, but they'd had a disagreement with the beer bar because they both wanted to sell the soft drinks, and then they couldn't agree between themselves, so the gin bar didn't turn up.
Bar was.
Yeah, it didn't end up with my mum selling gin out the back of the car, but it nearly got to that point. But that's the thing. So I ended up like trying to run this whole thing myself, biting off more than I could chew. And then it ends up like I end up just accidentally sort of dragging all my family in to try and help me and stuff. And then I'm like, I've been running these events to be going so well, and I've tried to bite off something else and try the next thing, and then all these other things are coming that you can't even predict that's going to happen.
100%.
I was doing like 6 months of prep trying to do all this stuff, and then 2 weeks before all this shit happens.
It's amazing. Yeah, they're just these. I always kind of say expect the unexpected. Sometimes
100%.
it's
Yeah.
like,
So I kind of learned. I talk to my family about this all the time because it's still quite a family traumatic event that happened. But they say to me that like it's all from my perspective a little bit, because we've got stories from it, and it was an incredible learning experience. And it's like if I did an events management masters or anything, I'd learn so much less doing that than the actual trying of doing the thing that I'm trying to do. You know, there's so much theory around everything that people
100%.
try and do.
Well,
there's nothing like the practical.
Yeah, well, that's the thing now. Like, I speak with music students. I'm now getting invited to speak to business students, and it's like I don't even have a degree in business. Like, I don't even like. I tried to do GCSE business, but apparently I wasn't the right fit, or I just.
So you failed GCSE business and GCSE
I didn't even
music.
do it. I didn't even do GCSE business. So I wasn't even accepted onto the course. So like, and now I'm being told, like, now I've been asked to go and speak to business students at colleges and universities on how to run a business.
It's crazy,
and it's just like, some part of me just feels like, what am I living in a...
You get a bit of imposter syndrome with it as well.
Yeah, that's it,
like,
imposter syndrome, yeah, exactly. But
you only live your experience and you go through it step by step. You don't...
Yeah.
It's easy to look back at what you've done and sort of like make a structure around it. Be like, oh, I was trying to do this, and then I did this, and then I did this. But a lot of it is just figuring out as you go along, and like you get to the next challenge.
It's
and you
literally
try
a lot of
it
it winging it.
There's a lot of winging it, and then you feel like you've done it enough times where it's been successful that it no longer feels like winging it. You've got a bit of intuition around things.
Yeah.
I still am.
You're still working
most
on
of the time. I'm still winging it most of the time.
Yeah.
We want to hear about the toilets.
Oh, yeah. So in my family and my close relatives helping me out, one of the things that nearly made the whole thing fall apart, and she has given me permission to talk about this, my lovely fiancée, she wasn't my fiancée at the time, she was my girlfriend at the time, we'd arranged, it was the weekend of Reading, Leeds and Creamfields, and the guy who was sorting our toilets for the event had left it quite late.
Can I ask, from a business perspective?
Yes.
It was the weekend of Reading, Leeds and Creamfields, and you decided to put an event on.
Yeah, but we weren't.
Why not?
Okay.
Like a challenge.
No, but that's what I mean. There's a lot of learning experiences from this.
100%.
But yeah, for us, it was like there's such different leagues of competition for us that it's not losing crowd. We're pitching to a completely different sort of audience, right?
Was your advert like, did you not get tickets to Reading and Leeds? Yeah, okay. Yeah.
You might like this instead. We'd had a limited number of toilets delivered to this event. And so it was Saturday and Sunday of that August bank holiday weekend. The Saturday goes sort of pretty well, not too much problematic actual stuff on the day. But this is mad practical stuff. I don't know how useful this is to anyone, but this is just my experience. The toilets meant to get cleared out that night on the Saturday night, and they don't, because the people who are doing it are at Creamfields clearing out the Creamfields toilets instead of doing our toilets.
Right.
So comes day 2, and we've got a limited number anyways, and about 6 o'clock on the Sunday, the guy running security comes over to me. He's like, just so you know, all the toilets are basically blocked full, and we're going to have to stop the event. Because if you're selling booze legally, you have to legally offer toilets and stuff to people. And it was because my lovely mother, in trying to help me sort all the disaster that was going on, in the planning of this, had bought the nicest loo roll she could find. So she bought like lovely quilted 2-ply.
Yeah.
And everyone had been
Scented.
very free with that, and that had contributed to the toilets getting full. So I learned this after the fact as well. Alex, my fiance now, went into the toilets with marigolds on and was trying to like fish stuff out, trying to help me. So don't do that. Yeah, don't try and lean on people that much. I think my takeaway of all of this is know your own limits as well.
Yeah. Or don't put an event on the same weekend as
Creamfields. Yeah.
That'd be my takeaway.
If you're trying to do anything, just avoid the bank holiday weekend. Though.
Yeah,
100%.
I think running events is. I mean, putting these on. I mean, when I first started, it's nerve-wracking. It's like, but it's not quite. I know trying to do festivals is. I've heard stories. It's not easy. It's not.
It's chaos. Absolute chaos.
Yeah, I've heard stories. It's. I mean, if you put on events or even festivals, fair play to you because it is hard work.
I don't do that anymore. That was a one-off. That was one-off. We do these lovely events, and they're done in the night.
Well, he says lovely, but he asked me to run one the other week, right? Because Harry was I
was playing a wedding before it that meant that I was too late for the setup.
He was at a so he said, Connor, can you come and set this up for me and run the door? That's the most important thing. He said, can you run the door with the tickets? And I said, okay, that's fine. So I was there for half an hour. And I had people coming up like, oh, we don't have tickets. Like, sorry, I can't show you them. And I was like, it's fine, just go in, it's fine. Not a problem.
I've hired him to run the door and he's just waving people in.
I was very trusting of the people. And I just said, that's fine, don't worry. So then we started having some issues with people who said, oh, we booked a table of 6 and there's no table of 6s left and things. And after a while, Harry showed up from his wedding. And I said, here you go, Harry, here's a list of like all these problems. I don't want to deal with these. You can do it. So it is, you say that they're nice, but they're not. They are still hard to run.
I think it's just because we've done the iterations. I'm used to it.
You've done them so many times that you're good at it now and you're sort of oiled machine at running them, but they are difficult. Like,
well, that's the thing that I've realised now, even running the events that for me, if I was doing it on my own, the smaller style events that we still run, I'm trying to bring people in now to help me with it anyways.
Yeah.
Outsourcing is just so key now. We can't do it.
It's building teams and stuff around you. It might be different for every industry. People might not be in an industry where it makes sense to have like a team, but even with that kind of thing, having a network of people who do a similar thing to you that you can all grow together is actually really important.
100%.
Well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, does anyone have any questions for Harry about his events or anything? Or Katie?
It's not necessarily about half of what you spoke about. Going right back to the start about these events, I've got one of my best friends is a singer, launching her singing career, just about to launch some of her own songs and stuff like that. So I just want to know where I can find out about these events and how I can sign her up, because I keep saying to her, we need to get you on some open mic nights, get you practicing your music, get you up singing to a bunch of strangers.
Does she do cover stuff or original stuff?
Both. So she does a lot of covers and stuff, but then the music that she's currently working on, like she's working on like her own album essentially, so it's original.
Yeah, so they're such different split industries and stuff, particularly in Liverpool, the original side and the cover side. I know we have Joan as well that can speak to some of that as well. The covers side of things, you can follow us, guys. I'm Harry James, Connor Farrell, Joe Reeve. Follow us on our Instagram and stuff. The Claremont events we run are it's built up through networks of musicians. So the first set that we have, like Connor was saying, it builds up through the night of sort of like chill to begin with, more upbeat. Yeah. I don't know what your mate performs like, but what we normally use that first spot for is basically like a trial spot for new people as well. So that's a really good opportunity. If you want to get us in contact and stuff, I'm more 100%. Than happy to look at things. One of the things that we're also trying to do is we're going to start running our own One More Tune open mic somewhere in town, because for us, one of the sides of our business that we're trying to run is the booking agency side of things for 100%. Private parties and weddings, because we get enough requests and stuff that our diaries don't necessarily allow us to do, that we end up having to hand off gigs to quite a lot of people.
All the time.
but we want to be able to build up a network of good people that we can put in those gigs.
100%.
So we're going to start running open mics for our own side of things,
Yep.
where we're basically finding the people that we can trust to go and give these gigs to and stuff. So that's something we're working on more kind of start next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's great, yeah. Anyone, any other questions? Or no? Okay. Connor, what's your subject? As you don't have any notes or anything, so...
How long have you got?
How long
I've got half an hour.
Okay.
But by show of hand, like how many people in here are to do with music, like music industry kind of, you know,
Sort of 50-50-ish.
50-50?
Yeah.
So what do the rest of you do, out of curiosity? Because I'm going to try and tailor this, you know, I'm going to,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah, please do.
nice.
Fitness.
Okay,
wanna do graphic
okay,
design?
okay.
Poetry.
Nice, nice. Okay, okay. So it's a mixed bag. So it's a mixed bag, right? Okay. Because I'm going to try and make this not too music focused and
Yeah, I know we've been
talk
talking about gigs
yeah,
a lot.
yeah. So right, okay. I haven't got any notes. I've not got any toilet stories, but I'm just going to talk about my journey from being a kid to where I am now and how I've somehow managed to make this happen. And I still don't completely know how, but... so basically, I obviously do the same as Harry. I'm a musician. I mostly do weddings, private parties, corporate events. These days, that's pretty much all I do, nationally and internationally. So I started, like most musicians, playing local bars. Now, like back to what Joe was saying about how important it is for your networking. The whole reason I even got there in the first place was because I met a guy, and that's the story for a lot of stuff with us, isn't it? And you know, basically, young kids, 17. You'll see how this ties, and this is great. This is great. I've got a good plan of where I'm going with this. Trust me.
He doesn't need notes.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking of this on the spot, but it's going to be good. So young kid, and I met a guy at literally just a local open mic night, and he was hosting the open mic night. And I went down, and I was scared to talk to him. Really introverted person, hate speaking to people. And I just sort of said, hi, I'm Connor, I'm a musician, and I really want to look at getting into gigs and things. And so we exchanged contact details and didn't hear nothing for a couple of weeks. And then he, out the blue, messaged me, and he said, Connor, I've got a gig that's going on the Bierkeller. See how this works, right? So he said, I've got a gig on the Bierkeller on a Friday night. It's 5 till 7. He said, it's paid, and I was like 17 at the time, and he was like,
You would have done it for free.
yeah,
Emotionally,
yeah.
you shouldn't have.
But it was like £100, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that. I don't know what it is now, but back then that's what it was. And anyway, so I 17. £100 to play music for 2.45.
As soon as I realised I could go into a bar, play music, get a couple of free pints, and leave with
100%.
more money than I went in with.
But that only happened because I said hello to this guy. If it didn't happen, I'd have still been sat in my bedroom making really bad YouTube videos that are all privated now. But my point is that, you know, it's about connections, and that opens so many doors. It still does now to this day, you know. On the flip side of things, literally last week, I went to go and play a private house party. It turned out that the private house party was on the south coast, and it turned out that these people were essentially...
They just won the Euro Millions.
They won the Euro Millions in 2022, £185 million. So I showed up at this house and thought,
You're not doing that one for free, are you?
I thought, I haven't charged you enough money for this. And it was insane experience, the whole thing. And anyway, and the point is that by meeting those people in that one night, I got, they've asked me to play another housewarming party in their new property in Dubai in a couple of months. They've also tried to book me for a couple of other events they've got going on next year on the South Coast. A friend of theirs has booked me for a wedding next year abroad as well. So I've got a ton of international dates and everything just off the back of meeting those people. But it wasn't necessarily just meeting them. It was once I'd finished my job performing.
Word of mouth.
Exactly. And it was networking with those people who were there as well, you know, because I seen the opportunity that, and you know, I seen these guys that are here at the party, and I'm thinking, well, you know, they've probably got a lot of connections, you know, even business connections, corporate events, things like that.
Yeah. It's often like-minded people, isn't it? You get, for us, we get a lot of strings of work. So you'll get a wedding off someone, and then when you go and play that wedding, it's someone who saw you play at something else, and then from that wedding, another guest books you.
100%.
Yeah.
So again, it just shows that it doesn't matter what stage in your career you're at, it works. But back then, in the beginning, I played my Bierkeller 5 till 7. I made sure, and this is just as important, that I did a really good job. You know, I gave it everything that I had, and luckily, a guy came up to me at the end, and he said, I'm business development manager for Bierkeller. He's not anymore. He works in Ibiza now. Lucky, but he said, I really like what you do. He said, would you like to do a regular slot on here? So from literally nothing, I knew absolutely nobody, but I spoke to one guy. He asked for my help, I did him a favour, and then I had my first residency, paid, you know, and then that was every week, £100, 17, I was still in sixth form, and every weekend I was making £100, and that sort of opened the doors. Then, a friend of his, again, the networking, friend of his was opening a new bar for a big company called McCooley's, you know, and essentially asked me, do you want to play the launch weekend? I said, yeah, okay. So I did that Friday, and then pretty much opened a lot of doors, because obviously that company, they own a lot of bars in the city. They own like 30 bars now. Yeah. So once you get in, that opened up all the doors. I played for them for quite a few years, honed the craft, learned to kind of play to busy crowds on the weekends, that kind of thing. And then I decided that I wanted to make a jump, and that was when I met you, right? So basically, I met Harry a couple of years ago now. Though it seems like it's been 20.
Yeah, when we talk for hours every week,
100%.
It's been a long time.
But I definitely think the people you surround yourself with is so important. I was surrounding myself at the time with a lot of pub singers. And then by definition, if you surround yourself with pub singers, you will then be a pub singer, because everybody that you're speaking to is like, oh, what bars are you playing this weekend? What bars are you playing? And it becomes
just in the sort of same lazy river.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that applies to any industry anywhere, is that whoever you surround yourself with, it becomes, you know, the norm. And when I met Harry, I was like, speaking to Harry, and I was like, oh, where are you playing? And he was like, I've got a private party here. I've got a wedding this weekend. And I was thinking to myself, you know, he does the same thing I do, literally the same thing, like song for song. And I was thinking, he does the same thing I do, but Harry's making 3, 4, 5 times the fee that I'm getting in a bar. That doesn't seem fair, you know? And so I thought, right, you know, the only thing you can do is when you surround yourself with people who are doing better than you, who are at that level, and people who push you up, is like, that's exactly what Harry did. And, you know, for me, he made me see the next step, the other side to music, really. And as soon as I seen that, I got carried away and was like, right. And I made that leap. And I think this applies to people who are maybe in a normal 9 to 5 and they want to get into, you know, being self-employed, whatever. I think it sort of applies here where you have to make that leap. Now, to me, I had 4, 5, 6 maybe residencies.
But it's an interesting one, because it's almost like that second stage of a leap. You'd gone from not being full-time music to full-time music to the next step of
all
full-time
levels,
music.
everything is levels, you know.
You had to take another leap after you'd already got sort of stabilised on the circuit. You were making enough money to get by.
Yep.
But then that's comfy.
100%.
But there's something else.
It's all levels. If you're in graphic design, for example, you know, you go from doing a couple of odd jobs for people, you know, doing the odd freelance job. Then the next step is, okay, maybe doing this part-time. Then it goes up to full-time. Everything's levels. And for me, took the next leap. And I made the decision, which was a poor decision, to be honest, but it's worked out. It was... I basically decided, right, I'm going to leave every pub gig, which was, at the time, probably bringing...
But it's tricky as well, because you're in with those people, and they're going to want to keep you in their circle.
100%.
And people who are also in that level, who haven't tried to get past that level, are going to naysay 100%. You for trying to say that that's not what you should be doing.
So many people, I got 2 reactions, right? Not one of those reactions was, we're made up for you, we're happy for you. One of the reactions was, this isn't going to work and you'll be back coming to the bars in 5 months or whatever. And the other reaction was like, oh, so you think you're better than us, you're leaving us, you know? And you're always going to get people like that. It doesn't matter what.
The bars, the one thing I noticed the difference between bars and weddings. After a wedding, you always get a thank you. Bars, you never did get a thank you after.
Yeah, there's someone else on after you at the bars.
Yeah.
Or there's someone waiting to take your gig if you don't do it.
100%. Yeah. And I noticed that straight away, and that's how I knew I was making the right decision. So I literally just blanket. I mean, don't get me wrong, I had quite a bit of savings behind me, which again I'd only built up just from doing the bars, being sensible, putting money away. I had a lot of savings behind me, enough to support myself for maybe 6 months or something financially without doing anything. And I basically made that leap, and I thought, right, and I just blanket messaged them all, and I said, and I thought to myself, if I ever come crawling back, they're gonna laugh at me. But it was fine. And I just messaged them and I said, listen, I really want to pursue doing the private stuff and things like that. I said, I'm really sorry. I'm more than open to doing the odd thing if you've got an odd thing going, but I'm going to pretty much,
give up your residencies.
Give them up. So I gave them all up. I gave up probably at the time about £800-900 a week in money from residencies, because I thought, well, by contrast, people like yourself who do private parties...
It's not even that. It's like you could make a similar amount of money for so much less time
100%.
That you were putting out for those kind of gigs.
Exactly.
Because a lot of musicians start out, when you build up a residency, you'll end up doing 4 or 5 gigs a night, sometimes in Liverpool and stuff.
It's
and
crazy.
That's fine when you're 18, 19, 20, 21. When you're trying to do that long term, you burn out. You burn out.
When you get old like Harry, you realise that, you know.
The creaking's not the chair, it's my back.
You sit down for most of your gigs now, don't you?
Yeah.
But yeah, as I say, so, you know, I made that leap, I made that jump, and then what happened was I found that, you know, as soon as and this is true for everything again, is sometimes when your back's against the wall and you've got no other option, you just have to do it. And sometimes it's like you think you're giving it your all, but you're not. When you really have to, or you're going to lose your house, or, you know, you can't pay your rent or whatever, then that's when you will, you know...
That's the fire under your
That's
arse,
when it goes, and you do it. And I found, like, within 2 months maybe, I was, like, doing 1 or 2 private events each week, which was earning me more money already straight away than I was earning in the bars, you know, and I was so happy.
The gigs are way more agreeable. They're much more agreeable.
And you know,
people have paid you to be there. You're not just on and they're walking in.
Exactly. And you were dealing with people then, and not businesses. And I've found, in my experience, it's different to everyone. I've found the B2B sort of bookings and relationships are always quite cold. You're always just there as a number. But if you're sort of working for people, I've found that they're a lot more welcoming, inviting.
Yeah, they appreciate what you do a lot more.
100%. You know, they love it. And that was where, for me, I was like, this is my side of the industry. I've put in, you know, 6, 7, 8 years of working in the bars, honing my craft, making myself good at what I was doing, investing in all the equipment to help me be able to do the private parties. And now I'm in a fortunate position where I was, like Harry was saying, where, you know, I was having to maybe sing for about 8 to 10 hours a week, which is just crazy thinking about it now, isn't it, that we used to do that.
It's going to be more than that. If you're doing 3 or 4 on a Friday and a Saturday,
it's got to be more than that,
that's 12 hours in 2 days.
Yeah.
I know, which is like mad to talk about, you know, when you're talking about Monday, Friday, 37.5 hours a week or whatever, but to be doing an intensity performance
100%.
thing that long, you just burn yourself out.
Early hours of the morning, like I struggle staying. If I do a gig now, it's very hard to do it past midnight. Otherwise, I'm literally literally just.
And I thought I was the old one.
I know. Well, how old are you now?
I'm 30.
I'm 32 next
Hey.
week, so I'm
Got your slippers on.
I know. Yes, it's past my bedtime. But yeah, I know what you mean. It's like that switch from going from the bars and clubs to privates now. It's a big jump. Again, you're dealing
100%.
with people. They appreciate you more. A lot of bars and that you are just a number. Sometimes. So it's like.
But you see it so much, like it must happen to all of us. We couldn't do a gig one week, someone else turns up, they get your residency. Like I've gone through the bar circuit and stuff.
100%.
There's someone else who'll do it, who is good enough for the bars. 100%. They don't care, they've got a certain level that you need to get to, and past that doesn't really make much difference.
Exactly.
There's always someone else waiting in the wings.
That's when the second lesson came in, which was that when you're playing for bars, you're playing for businesses, a lot of it can be done on recommendations, because a lot of bars, venues, they don't care really who is playing. They just want music. They don't care.
You got to be good enough.
Yeah, you got to be good enough at a level, but then after that they don't mind, right? And that's the same for pretty much any industry, I'd imagine. You know, a lot of places will just want you to do your job. They don't care who you are. They don't care, about your personal brand. They just want someone to do, connect the dots for them, and that's fine. But what I realised was when I came away from that to working for people, that was when I was like, okay, my friend, Dave or whatever isn't going to just recommend me for this and I can go and do it. So now I'm like, okay, I've got to learn to actually sell myself to the customers, to people directly. And that's when the personal brand, social media, that's when that became massive. And I still think to this day, I mean, we always say we get, 70-80% of our work through Instagram.
Easily, most.
Do you want to know? I might not touch this. The Euro Millions winner. Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you want to know how they found me?
Was it through me?
TikTok. It was through TikTok. You know, and it's like, and the guy actually, the husband, he said to me, he said, well, when my wife told me that I booked someone through TikTok, he was like, I was like, are you mad?
You got a singer off TikTok shop,
yeah. It was like, you've booked the singer to come all the way down to the South Coast from TikTok. He was like, he's not going to show up, there's no chance. Turn
up and you're that small.
Yeah, exactly. But it goes to show that there's people, that are literally just, they literally said they seen one reel of me playing on TikTok, one TikTok, and they literally just were like, that is what we want. They booked it, and it, same thing with myself. I decided to focus on getting rid. I selected every video that didn't represent what I wanted to look like. I want to make myself appealing to the higher end private things.
But yeah, you have to be. It's mad how direct you really have to be if you're trying 100%. To sell whatever product or service it is. You have to make it so transparently clear that is what you do. Yeah. You can't just be like, I am a musician. I am a this. It's like, if you want someone to sing at your wedding, I am this guy. Here's a video of me doing a good job.
Exactly. And I mean, the same thing if you're a PT, if you're a graphic designer, it just takes one post. And I genuinely don't have a massive following, nothing like that. I've got the least following here, you know what I mean?
But it's effective enough to run a business anyways.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. It's not about, some people I speak to, they say, oh, I've only got 200, 300, 400 followers, whatever. It doesn't matter. It takes one post. And the way that the algorithms work now anyway is it gets shown to people that aren't your followers anyway. And it takes one post to get a booking, and then it snowballs and it snowballs. And with me, I found I got rid of all of those posts that were like pub singing things. I tailored myself towards the private sector, the house parties. Some of the videos that I put up were just me playing in my nans, and as I say, just in the corner of the room.
Did you charge your nan?
Yeah, damn right, yeah. 2
Werther's originals.
Yeah. But as I say, but that kind of thing, and it worked. That's all I can say is it literally worked. I also did have, again back to the networking. Harry as well. Harry was at a later stage in his career in the beginning, where he had a more fuller diary with me with the whole sort of private things. He'd been doing it when I made that jump. And he also said, listen, here's a couple of, private parties, weddings, whatever, I'm already booked for. Do you want me to put you forward for them? And I want to stress, like, it wasn't a case of just, oh, I'll give you them. He just recommended them to me. I still had to win the way.
Yeah, you have to win the way.
Things like that.
Particularly if someone, for us, because we're talking about like people by people before. If they try and book one of us, it's because they've seen us. And when we go, oh, I can recommend you someone, that's almost like a complete stranger.
100%.
But you have to get to a point where like your recommendation has value and stuff as well.
People have to feel like they know you as well, and it's so important. Like, I literally did a private party a couple of weeks ago, and like a 4 or 5 year old kid came up to me and he said, oh, Connor, he said, I'm so happy to see you. He said, my mum and dad watch you all the time on Instagram. And it's like, you know what I mean?
So bad.
And that's why they booked me, and it goes to show, like, that's definitive proof, proof that it works.
Well, I love when I get an inquiry coming. If it starts with, hi, you've been highly recommended, I love that. I'm like,
yep.
good
100%.
Like, it's just like, it's a good...
You don't have to win them over anymore.
No, exactly. That's a good feeling. So already they're kind of... And most of the time, they will go ahead and book. Like, it's just,
like, music is a very... already personal facing thing, I think, anyway, a lot of music stuff, but especially in different industries, it's easy to not be in videos, and I understand how scary it is, because
you've had to get past the ickiness of it.
that thing of, hi guys, whatever, and I
Welcome
was like,
to the vlog.
And I was like, I'm not doing that, I'm never doing that, right? And then
as soon as you show your face, it makes so much difference.
I had this really massive wedding on some big 50-acre estate down in Somerset, and I said, right, this is the one. This has got to be the one that I do the cringe stuff, and I did it. And a day later, I looked at my Instagram DMs, and I had like 6, 7 bookings replying to that story, going, "We want to book you.
It's
oh my
showing your
god,
face.
that looked amazing."
It's even just the engagement online. Like, people are so much more likely to listen to someone actually talking to them, like they're having a conversation
100%.
with people, than seeing someone posting their business. But it's like you don't see any people.
It's like anyone can play Sweet Caroline, and
But only Connor can play it the way that Connor plays it.
But that's the thing. But they're not booking you because you can play Sweet Caroline, because anyone can do that. They're booking you because they've seen the way that you do it. They've seen footage or whatever of you at a party where it's been really busy, whatever. They're booking you. They're not booking you what you do. That's what I've found, and that's pretty much brings me up to now, which is I've just continued to do the private parties, doing the weddings, doing the corporate events, and I've just managed to work my way up through building a personal brand, again, starting from literally ground zero, no friends. No, I had friends, a couple. No contacts is what I meant to say. I had no contacts. I had, one friend. I built myself up from literally nothing to just going out and meeting people. That's the first step, I think. If you've got nowhere coming in, just go meet someone who's got work coming in, because I guarantee there's people on our end of the spectrum that have got too much coming in and now need to pass down to other people who they know are reliable. And it's hard to just go up to someone and say, hi, my name is blah, whatever, and it is cringy, but it is the best way of getting in the door. And once you've met the people and you've started getting a bit of work coming in, for me, it's just all about then leaning into that personal brand, building it up, making yourself look reliable, trustworthy, showing your personality and things. Don't worry about, my Instagram grid needs to look like, unbelievable Steven Spielberg. No one cares, you're also going to have times that I've showed up to play things and, I've been messed around. You're always going to have bad experiences, but you can't let that deter you as well, 100%, because I've had so many times. I've had about 4 times that I've thought about quitting. One time, I did quit for 2 weeks, and I got a normal job. I've told you about this.
Go on.
In my uncle's car factory.
Oh, yeah.
So I was so fed up with it because I was getting let down by bars, and I was like, right, I've had enough. I'm going to do the 9 to 5. and whatever, I'm done with this. And I went for 2 weeks, and I went to work in a car factory that manufactures car parts. And I went in, and my uncle was like, I'll sort you out, I'll get you a job, a real man's job, okay? So I went in, and at first day I walked in, and he said, see that room there? I said, yeah, with all the fires in it. He was like, yeah, that's the furnace. That's where we mould the parcel shelves for cars. You're in there for the next 6 hours. And after that day, I was like, you know what? I love what I do. Music, it's great. And I never looked back, to be fair. But there's been a couple of times that I have been very much humbled, and I have been sort of questioned things, but I've stuck with it. And
it's a bit cringe, but you don't learn anything really from the experiences that go well and easy and smooth.
100%.
You only really learn from the
This has
difficult things.
always been where I wanted to end up, was at this level now. And now me and Harry are doing the One More Tune thing, which is we do a live podcast, which is talking about the music industry, talking about just our day-to-day sort of findings. We normally end up going on massive tangents, normally end up causing fights online. We recently posted a video where I tried to explain how the Coldplay wristbands work at concerts, but apparently I wasn't right. And it got over 1 million views of people going, he's wrong, that's not how it works. I become the most hated person on the internet for a night.
So we basically just create bait content to try and like stir things up.
Yeah,
online.
that's
what we
the
need to
plan.
try
It's
and
just
do.
annoy people. But we're, expanding into next year, we're going to be, it'd be
doing
great.
more events, doing more agency side stuff.
Yeah, we're looking
trying to
at
build up all our connections and network and stuff.
100%. That's what I think
That's the future.
going forward into it.
Yeah.
How was that?
Perfect
Yeah,
timing.
Look at that,
perfect
see.
timing that. But no, thank you, Connor.
No worries.
Thank you. Does anyone have any other questions before we round anything up? Questions? No? That's great. So, yeah, guys, thank you, Harry, Connor, thank you. One More Tune, thank you so much. Thank you to everyone as well who's come tonight. We couldn't put on these events without you guys, so thank you so much. Yes, I've been Joe. So our next event we are going to be doing, we are going to be going down to London. We are teaming up with London Collective at the Finken Cafe in Canada Water. I believe it's near Canary Wharf. That's on the 24th of October. That'll be our next event, but we'll be in collaboration with London Collective. And then I'm hoping to put one on again in Manchester before the year's out. So I need to find a date, but that is my to-do list, next on my to-do list to sort out. And then next year, we're going to really kind of step it up. Again, try not to hit our limit, but we're going to really try and have one at least once a month next year. Keep bringing you these kinds of events, these networking. So again, it might be panels, guest speakers, masterclasses. We're going to really try and see what we can get out of these and try and see if we want you guys to come away and feel like, oh, I've learned something from that, oh, I've really benefited from that. So, but that's our plan for next year, so
I think this here is the secret. Like in the beginning, this is what we're talking about. It's the network, and if everybody comes back to the next one and brings a couple of friends, if it gets bigger and bigger, the more people who are here, the more people you can meet, and the more contacts that you have in the beginning is how it all starts. So this is why these events are absolutely incredible that Joe puts on, because...
So thank you, Joe. Cheers.
It's all right, my pleasure, my pleasure. And thank you to Bierkeller as well, and Alex and the team. And thank you to Lucian, our DJ, as well.
Cheers, Lucian.
And Maximum Music, our sponsors as well. So thank you, guys, and have a great night. Thank you.
Please do come up. No, don't come up. Please do, come up when we're off the stage and speak to us, and it'd be great to get to meet everyone and hear what everyone does, and stalk your Instagrams, see what everyone's doing right that I can copy.